Today's topic comes from Browncoat Eric, blows himself up dude. And today he would like us to do a video about which superheroes, or I guess comic book characters, don't make good movies. Like, which characters shouldn't or couldn't be translated onto screen.
Major characters.
Major characters, yeah. Characters that maybe comic book fans have heard of, but not necessarily that everybody has heard, I think is the idea. Like, not necessarily everybody's heard of them, but things like... The example he said that he did... that's like, don't do, is like Squirrel Girl.
Because she's not popular enough for even comic fans to care about.
I don't know who that is.
She has the ability to control squirrels, and she defeated
Vince,
Dr.
I can be certain that everything on my list is someone I have heard of.
No.
Okay, are you ready?
Sure.
You want to go first?
Oh, okay.
Okay, I think it's your turn. Here we go.
I suppose I can do that.
1 minute on the clock.
And here we go. Alrighty. I think that most major characters can work in film to some degree. Maybe not in a solo film, but there is some way that they could possibly work. I'll start with saying that with the proper emphasis, some things can work in a solo film. Like, I think Martian Manhunter, if you were to give him his own superhero film, that'd be great. That's nice, and I appreciate the effort. But I don't think that you should start there. I think you should go back to his time on Mars when the genocide was going on. That needs to happen. Like, another one would be Hawkman. If you went back to his time on his planet, whatever planet that happens to be, I forget now, but and talk about the wars that happened, that would be interesting. But, alright, also, some things only work in the idea of a team. Why? Because the characters' personalities or backgrounds aren't really interesting enough to make them into a modern character, You know what I mean. Anyway, so into a solo film like Hawkeye, Ant-Man, the Atom, Wonder Man. I mean, for oh, mothers. That's okay.
All right. I'm putting 1 minute on the clock for myself.
Hooah!
So that we get equal time and all that, you know.
No.
I, too, agree about the team idea. That some characters just wouldn't work well enough by themselves. One I wrote down for that, well, both Cable and Bishop. I just don't think either of these would be great for a solo film. Especially when you've got a guy who his whole power is, if you shoot things at him, he can shoot them back. That just is not always interesting. You have to have very specific points at times where this works. But the other big point I wanted to make is that some are just not known well enough to be made in their own film. And I really feel like Deadpool is this way. I know there's a Deadpool movie, I know it's going to happen, and I'm excited about it kind of, just to see how it's going to happen, but I was never a Deadpool fan. And I think a lot of people, I'm not sure it'll do well. I think the issue is, should it get made? Maybe. I mean, maybe the issue for me isn't that it shouldn't get made, it's just that it might not do well enough at the box office to be made. Venom is like that for me, because he's a villain, not really a superhero. I had about 4 minutes worth, I think.
Could be.
Of stuff. I have so much more on here that I didn't get to. Well, why don't we talk about all the stuff we didn't get to?
Sure.
In our minutes.
Why not?
Here we go. Because I think that we're mostly in agreement just overall on, you know what I mean?
I think so.
But what do you think about the whole idea that some characters just are already not popular enough?
I think, now, I will say this, that popularity, the only reason that should be taken in consideration is to whether or not the company's going to waste money in trying to produce it. Because that would cause a problem with producing other characters that might be, you know, more worthwhile and more of interest to a more general audience.
Let me ask you a question, though. If a character is already not popular enough in the comics for comic book fans, doesn't that kind of tell you a little bit about what might happen in a movie? I mean...
Yeah. That doesn't necessarily mean that it would be a bad movie, though.
No, that's true. I'm just not sure. Yeah, okay. I mean, that's true. Some of the other things I wrote down, just because I want to know your opinion. By the way, I love what you said about Martian Manhunter. Yeah, Martian Manhunter, the superhero, is this really a movie we want to see? Not necessarily. I mean, the backgrounds are kind of the interesting. And another thing is there's a lot of things in comics that'll never get made into movies because they're not about a superhero. But like, I still want to see like the movie about the destruction of Krypton.
Oh yeah.
You know,
that'd be fantastic. I'd like to see that too.
It's things I wrote.
Come on.
Things I wrote down. Namor.
Namor? See, I think Namor could be interesting to some extent.
Yeah.
But it would have to, you wouldn't have to keep it separate from the surface world, but you would really have to get into politics of Atlantis.
Namor was like the Hulk for me, and I know the Hulk's had 2 movies, but Namor was always one of those characters that only worked when there were other characters for him to fight.
See, that's the deal, is the way they always used Namor was he was just this baddie that came up from under the water, and sometimes he would team up. He was like Catwoman. He kept flip-flopping. And that's the reason I can never get into Namor. If they were to do the politics thing, that would be fine.
Ant-Man?
Ant-Man, like Hawkeye, he should only be in team things.
I don't think a Shazam film would work.
I do.
And I know you'll probably punch me in the face when I say this, but well, the problem with it for me is that I think the idea is too hokey to be done in our current modern day in 2010. I think you got, Shazam's a kid, and then he becomes a man, and I just think that's, for anybody who doesn't know who Shazam is, I'm not sure it would work on film right now. That's my only problem with it.
It might not be well received by an audience, but that doesn't mean it'd be a bad movie.
Firestorm?
Firestorm? I don't think Firestorm works in general. When you have a character who can alter, like, for example, the search for kryptonite, they should have just had Firestorm alter the kryptonite.
Firestorm wasn't even in that book.
Yes, he was.
Oh, he was? Where? I don't remember that.
He was helping Superman and Batman locate stuff.
Oh, that's right.
He was one of them that was supposedly kissing up to Superman.
There are also some characters that have been done in films as films that shouldn't have been, like Steel.
Steel? You see, he could have been done, at least interestingly. Just
yeah, but
not with Shazam. Not with Shazam.
And not by himself, and not related to Superman.
And not with the guy that used to play Shaft.
The other one I wrote down was Supergirl, because that didn't work.
No. God,
although,
that was
not
awful.
to say that couldn't potentially work, but you need a continuity already that it works in.
The one thing that really gets to me that I think bears mentioning is if you have a character that is a little. He said this before the video. If you're too cosmic, if you're something that's beyond the idea of a certain film that can only be taken care of in a long continuity, that's a problem.
And we can do this in another video sometime, but I'm afraid Green Lantern's going to be lost on a lot of people.
That's possible.
And we're probably going to get some hate mail for this, but because I know there's a lot of really big Green Lantern fans, and nothing against those folks, and like, I'm looking forward to it. I'm not sure what it's going to be like, but I'm kind of looking forward to seeing how they do it. It's just that a lot of people who don't already know who he is, I think it's going to be kind of over their heads, because Green Lantern is such a cosmic kind of concept.
Mm-hmm. And the only thing that bothers me about Green Lantern is the coincidental dispersing of the ring. I mean, I was in the right place at the right time, but apparently I'm a good guy, so they give me the ring.
Well, what do you think? What characters can you think of that couldn't or shouldn't be done in a film? And what do you think about the suggestions we've given? Next week we're going to do the flip of this. We're gonna do characters that we think ought to be done in movies from comics that probably never will be, or will never get their own films.
Oh yeah.
And that'll be quite interesting.
Hooah.
Thanks a lot for watching. I'm Captain Logan.
And I am Vince.
And we'll see you next time on Geeks Not Nerds. Maybe, assuming you watch it.
And you will.
If you hit the play button, you'll see us. If you don't, you won't.
But you gotta hit the play button on the right video. Because if you go to, like, say, blows himself up, dude, and hit play, you're not gonna see Geeks Not Nerds.
Nope, you're gonna hear Eric talking.
That's right.
Because he talks about things.
This is true. His videos would be really boring if he didn't.
Nope. If Eric didn't talk on his videos, it would be like doing a Google image search.